Jordan Maxwell continues as a preeminent researcher and independent scholar in the field of occult and religious philosophy. His interest in these subjects began as far back as 1959. He served for 3.5 years as a religion editor of Truth Seeker magazine, America's oldest free thought journal since 1873. His work exploring the hidden foundations of Western religions and secret societies creates enthusiastic responses from audiences around the world. He has conducted dozens of intensive seminars, hosted his own radio talk shows, appeared on more than 600 radio shows, and written, produced, and appeared in numerous television shows and documentaries, including 3 2-hour specials for the CBS TV network, as well as the internationally acclaimed 5-part Ancient Mystery series, all devoted to understanding ancient religions and their pervasive influence on world affairs today. His work on the subject of secret societies, both ancient and modern, and their symbols, has fascinated audiences around the world for decades. Considering the rapidly moving events of today and the very real part that hidden religious agendas play in our modern war-torn world, he feels these controversial subjects are not only interesting to explore, but too important to ignore. His extraordinary presentations include documents and photographs seldom seen elsewhere. And after a year of trying, he is here, and it is a privilege and an honor for me to finally introduce you to Jordan Maxwell. Hello, Mr. Maxwell. Thank you for being on Veritas. How are you?
Well, very good. I appreciate your inviting me, and I know it's been kind of difficult trying to catch up with me, but I haven't been well, and I'm always on the phone, and got a lot of people I'm trying to contact, and so I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but here we are, at least here.
Not a problem. We made it happen, and we're going to make it shine. It is my pleasure. May I call you Jordan?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Well, tonight, folks, I'm going to do something a bit different. And yes, we'll dive right into the subject matter, but I really want all those people who have patiently waited this long to hear Jordan Maxwell on Veritas to know that I will try my best to ask all your questions. So tonight, I'll start by asking Jordan his take on a few current world events, and then we'll start with your questions. So let's start. Jordan, recently Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president, said that on February the 11th, Iran will stun the West with a punch. Now, I believe we know he meant to say Iran is a nuclear state. What is your take on where this rhetoric is going?
Well, from so many years I've been talking about corruption in government and that kind of thing, and I've really gotten totally away from concerning myself with governments anymore and with the political situation. I have become very apolitical. I really don't care what these people say. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's all a charade. It's all part of a inside joke, and the joke is on the human race. And so I'm not really concerned about any of this because I talked with an official many, many years ago in the Democratic Party, very high up in the Democratic Party, and I remember that person told me that what we have to do in the Democratic Party, we are told, is to always keep some kind of a crisis that's coming so that the people will always be in fear and some kind of a crisis going to happen next week or next 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks is going to be the end of the world or something. It's just good for business. It's like a going out of business sale, and every month we have a going out of business sale, and it's just good for business. So I've come to the point where I'm just apolitical. I don't even care what these people talk about and what they're going to do, because I know that it's the whole world is a stage and each must play his part. And so the whole thing is theatrical. The entire thing is a charade. And the people who are supposedly the most bitter enemies, you will find them having dinner together, and behind the scenes are the best of friends in their particular Masonic lodge or their particular fraternal order. So I don't really put much value in anything any politician or head of state says, especially heads of state. They talk to themselves more than they talk to anybody else. So I'm not really interested in any of this political stuff that's going on right now. I already know that the situation on the earth, politically speaking, is so far out of control that if someone were to say something of value, they'll probably be killed or put in prison somewhere. So I'd just as soon stay away from the political stuff. I mean, if you got other questions that people want to ask, I'll try and answer them. But I don't have much respect for politicians or used car salesmen or lawyers.
That's fine. Basically, I'm asking a few current world event questions on my own first. You remember in December, I believe it was, the Norway spiral, which later the Russians said it was failed missile test. Do you have an opinion of what the symbology of that spiral, if any, was?
Well, of course, the spiral has always, as far back in history as we can go into the most ancient times, the spirals have always been used in paintings on walls and carvings. So that spiral is a very interesting symbol. I don't believe for a minute it was anything to do with a rocket. No, that has nothing to do with anything like that. It was purposely done, and it could actually have something to do. It wouldn't surprise me if it had something to do with HAARP, because I heard that there was some kind of a HAARP establishment right there near where that happened. And maybe there was a symbolic thing for Obama, because that's the way the Illuminati operate. They cause major things to happen on a particular moment at a particular time for a symbolic gesture, and they orchestrate. Like I said, the whole world's a stage. And they orchestrate all kinds of high-tech stuff on the earth for a reason. So, I mean, earthquakes and hurricanes can be caused by ELF, So, I don't know what was going on there, but it was man-made. There's no doubt about that. And whatever it was probably a symbol to show the world something. And as I said, spirals are very important in the ancient world. I mean, they symbolize the spiral of time through eternity. There's spirals that symbolize religious ideas and concepts. So, I mean, who knows? As far as I'm concerned, I have no idea for sure, because nobody ever tells anybody anything from the inside. So,
and speaking of HAARP, the Haiti earthquake, we've been discussing all the possibilities in the past few shows.
Yeah.
Former President Clinton removed President Jean-Bertrand Aristide first, then restored him to power, then President Bush 43 removed him again, now the earthquake. Since you look at things beyond what the mainstream mediaopoly feeds us, what do you see developing in Haiti?
Well, first of all, after Katrina, there was a second hurricane. And on the news, and I pulled it off and saved it on my computer. I think it was CNN or one of those news networks had pictures from satellite of the second storm, and in the center of the eye of that storm was a cloud formation, and the cloud formation, I think it's on my website, was an absolutely flawless, perfect 2, the number 2, inside the eye, where I wouldn't think that there would be any cloud formations in an eye of a hurricane, but there was a 2 made up of clouds. And so I know about, I was very close friends with Tom Bearden, Colonel Tom Bearden.
Sure.
And Bob Beck and all those guys that were working on ELF and the woodpecker effect, etc. And I remember hearing years ago how Tesla had already developed the technology and the knowledge about how to manipulate weather. So there's no doubt in my mind that they can cause horrible hurricanes or earthquakes, whatever, on the earth anywhere. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not privy to any particular knowledge about it, but when it happened, I thought to myself, there's probably a technical reason why they decided to hit them with that, and it's probably our technology. It's Tesla technology, so.
See, that's the part that doesn't surprise me.
No, me either.
The technology that may have been used, but the reason for using Haiti now as a new base is what everybody's asking me about. Any suspicion as to why we all of a sudden sending thousands of troops there?
Well, that whole area from Puerto Rico Puerto Rico and that whole little area in the
Caribbean,
Atlantic and the Caribbean was the home, the absolute home of the Knights Templars, who we call the Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean were actually the Masonic Order of Knights Templars. And that's why the Federal Reserve and the Internal Revenue are home officed in
Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico, yes. Their home office is there because they are the Pirates of the Caribbean. And so these great institutions of finance in America and around the world are home officed in the Caribbean. And so maybe there's some kind of a falling out among powers that be about who's running things in the Caribbean. And